I'm going to discuss a few things here with Eclipse and the number conversion, and let's just see if this helps anybody. And this is how I've got my stuff set up. This is my number conversion screen, and yours may be the same. Yours may be different, but for instance, I have write out 1 through 9. Anything above that, I want it to turn into a number, and etc., etc. I've got number conversion turned on, and I'm processing AND as a number. So let's just see how my setup works for me and see what we get here. You can watch me write on the screen here, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to do something like I did up there before. Question: did you have $1,223? Now, if I hold it right there, you'll see that nothing's converted yet because it's still waiting for me to finish writing numbers. So if I was through with that and all I had was, say for instance, finishing the phrase "in the bank," when I do as soon as I hit that stroke, it converts that number and I can write bank after that. So you can see that Eclipse will hold the numbers until you're through writing numbers, and once you write a word that is not something that Eclipse looks as a trigger for more numbers, it will keep going. Now if you look over here on my steno, I'm going to click on that and you'll see that I wrote $1,223. Now I did this on purpose. I kind of wrote some stuff out to show you that it literally will wait until you just keep on writing. And that's exactly what it did. So let's do this again and see how it does. Did you have $1,223 in the bank? Once again, it held. Now you can see that the stroke is a little bit different. I wrote 23 in one stroke instead of up here 23. It still converted it correctly. Now let's add some cents to this word and see what happens. Question: did you have $1,223.25 in the bank? Now see, on this one I was able to write $1,223.25. It waited until I wrote all of that, and once it heard another word that wasn't a number trigger, so to speak, then it converted that number for me. So let's do it differently this time. I'm going to do question: did you have $1,223.25 in the bank? Okay, now this time I wrote it completely different. I used the number bar and I got the same result. I've got $1,223.25 in the bank. Notice on this one I didn't write the word cents like is up here. Now one question is, well, how do you have dollars defined? So let's go look over here and let's write one more thing. I had $5 in the bank. Now see, this time it didn't convert it. It just wrote it that way because that's how I like to do numbers that are under 10. But let's look at that word dollars. Let's go to my main dictionary. Let's do a search for D-L-A-R-S. You can see I have the word dollars defined as the word dollars. the stroke. Now let's go look at the final DZ. I know some of you might use final DZ as dollars, and this is how I have dollars defined also with the DZ. Now let's take that back and let's go back over here and let's look at a couple of things and see how we can get this to come up with, say, using the DZ stroke, if that's what you're comfortable with. Question: did you have 1, 2, 2, 3 DZ in the bank? Let's see what that does. Okay, now you can see here again, I wrote it completely different than the previous examples above. This time I wrote 1, 2, 2, 3 DZ. I didn't even write the word thousand, which by the way is defined as THOU. Let's look here. THOU is 1,000. You can see it down here at the bottom of the screen. If I wanted to do THOUD, I could do $1,000 that way. Let's see what that does if I write $1,000 in the bank. Again, here's the other conversion, $1,000. I wrote that in one stroke. And if you remember down here, let's go look at that again. Search for my stroke, THOU. That's where I started with that little section. Let me just make this a little bit larger. So I've got THOU $1,000, and I've got THOUS as 1,000. So I've got a couple of different options there for strokes. I think I also have, let's do $100. I don't have that one like I thought I did. $100 in the bank. There again, we've got $100 in the bank. I could go in there and define that HUNDZ as $100, and it would work the same way just as you saw the THOUDZ a while ago. But that is how my number conversion is working for me based on how I hear something, or I've got several variations on how I want to write something, as you just saw. Let's go down here. Let's do, did you have $25.25 in the bank? Now here we go again. I'm writing it just like I hear it, and it's coming up okay. Now let's see how it works if I want to try maybe just some fun stuff here. I'm going to do it again. Go down here. Did you have $25 in the bank? See what happens there. See, it doesn't work for me that way because it can't figure out how to work that number combination out. If I want to do, let's do it again. Did you have $25.25 in the bank? See, on that one, what we got here is $25.25 in the bank. That came up nicely. Some of you are wanting to hear that dollar sign at the end, or do it at the end of the stroke. And let's try it one more time. Did you have 25.25 DZ in the bank? So I can use that DZ stroke on this example and get the same result. Now let's do another one here. Did you have $25.25 in the bank? Okay. Now, if you look at this one, let's look at the first one before. $25.25 came up correctly for me. Now look at the difference here. 25, I wrote the word $25. It still translated correctly for me. Let's go up here and look at the word, that final P in my dictionary. Asterisk P. You can see that the asterisk P, or the right side of P, is what I use for decimal. Okay? And that's how I have it defined as French open capital decimal close French. Now if I go here to the word point, you can see in my dictionary I have the word point defined as the word point. Interesting. But yet, when you go back up here, whether I wrote the word point or I wrote the word with a final P, I'm still getting a correct translation. Okay? Let's do some more stuff here and see what we get. Did you have 0.25 in the bank? So I can do it that way. I can write, did you have final P25 in the bank? Can you point me to something? Now this one here, I wrote, can you point me to something, which allows me to write the word point. Now if I do, can you final P point me to something, I'm not going to get what I want, because as you saw, I have that final P defined as the decimal in a string of numbers. But even though I do have that final P defined, I can do the 0.25 right up here between numbers, the word point, and it's still going to translate correctly for me. And that is kind of a overview of the power of what Eclipse will do here as far as number conversions go. Let's just do something fun here. I tend to write the numbers the way I hear them, so I could do, did you have $1,225.53 in the bank? And you can see here, it just does it all for me. I wrote $1,225.53. I did all that. Once I wrote something other than what Eclipse thought was going to be a number, then it triggered and turned everything into the number for me. So back in the day when real-time was first coming out, you would have to sometimes either hit the $sign beforehand or not write it at all. Now, with the advent of how software has developed, you have the ability to wait until you hear the word dollars, and when you hear the word dollars within the number, as in the example here, you're able to go ahead and hit that word then and whatever else follows, and then your end result is going to come out looking correctly. Back in the day, like I said, you'd almost have to wait until the whole number was mentioned before you even wrote the $sign first and then tried to catch up with the number. In this day and age, with the advent of the way that software is developed, you can hear the word dollars within the word and hit that word dollars and you're good to go. And like I said, I could do the word dollars, or I could use the final DZ, which is defined as dollars, and I'm able to get the same translation correctly. So I hope that kind of explains a little bit about how I'm using the number setup with my software and kind of how it works. And I gave you several examples up here using a whole bunch of variations on how to write those words and get the same result. And it makes me look good when I'm writing real time, which is the whole point. At least I look like I know what I'm doing, and letting the software do some of the work for me. So I hope that helps, and I will close this video. Thanks.